Perhaps one of the coolest concepts The Walking Dead has ever introduced is the fact that there are different types of walkers that vary in strength, speed, and intelligence. This opens up the possibilities so much more when it comes to how big of a role zombies actually play in the show, and while people were disappointed that they waited until the 19th episode of the final season to introduce them, me and many others were hopeful that they would utilize this concept in other spin-offs. But here we are now, 8 months after the release of the episode, with not a single follow-up or explanation of their existence. And before I talk about the 2 reasons I think this is happening, I want to show you guys a few scenes and moments that could have been the perfect opportunity to show these variants again and at least canonize the idea that they somehow appeared 13 years into the show without an explanation. Fear the Walking Dead Season 8. After I heard there was going to be a 7-year time skip in Fear the Walking Dead Season 8, I thought 2 things. Morgan can officially reunite with the main cast, and showing variant walkers is a crucial plot point in order to make the universe make sense and connect. Because if you're going to show walkers with the ability to climb and grab things in the 11th season of the main show for no apparent reason, it would only make sense that when the spin-off of the show catches up timeline-wise, those smart walkers would also randomly appear. It's almost as if smart walkers have always been a thing, but 13 years into the apocalypse, someone planted them in the United States. But no, here we are 6 episodes into Season 8 of Fear the Walking Dead, and not a single sighting of one. If anything, the walkers have gotten dumber. I mean, literally look at how slow this one walks in the Season 8 premiere. And one scene in particular was the perfect way to introduce them onto fear, just like The Walking Dead did. In Season 8 Episode 2, when Dwight and Sherry are climbing up onto the train car, they both get caught up in their moment and have a deep conversation, and eventually they fall through the train car. But instead of that, it would have been 10 times cooler and more realistic to cut to a scene of a lone walker in the horde randomly just grabbing the ladder and slowly climbing up while Dwight and Sherry were having a heart-to-heart. And perhaps an even bigger failure was in the most recent Dead City episode. When Maggie and the group are stuck in a fighting pit, why not just have 1 or 2 walkers start climbing up into the ring? And the thing is, when I say that they should incorporate variants, it doesn't have to necessarily add to the story in a major way. I'm just saying it should be happening to make this entire universe make sense. I mean, this is literally turning into make-believe with each and every episode. And it angers me even more with the Dead City episode because both Maggie and Negan have seen variants before.
What the fuck?
It wouldn't throw the story off if Negan or Maggie saw one occasionally in New York. Now, with all of this, you might be wondering why. Why have we never seen these variant walkers again? And will we ever see them again? Well, I have 2 very likely answers. First, is that the idea of variant walkers was a complete gimmick. Now, let me elaborate more. When these variants were introduced, it may have been a sudden introduction to the characters, but not to us. The episode where they were introduced was titled Variant, so we knew what would happen. This could have just been AMC trying to lure viewers in to continue watching and let their show end off with a bang. Now, I personally somewhat believe this is true because they were going to be making multiple spin-offs and it was their final season, so you know how it goes. But let me present you with my second answer, which could be the more likely explanation. Variants will only be shown in Daryl Dixon. When reading articles about the Daryl show, they say we will see more of the French variants. What does French variants mean? It's referring to the World Beyond post-credit scene where we see a walker banging a door and running. So perhaps variant walkers are native to Paris, and someone did actually plant a few in the United States, which is why they suddenly appeared. Which is pretty cool and interesting, but for the people who actually found them to be cool, like me, in order to see more of that, we're forced to watch the Daryl show. In my case, it's not forced. I love Daryl Dixon. And from what I've gathered, this will be the case. We're going to get more info on variants in the Daryl show, especially after the trailer seeing him in the lab that was shown in World Beyond. And I understand AMC's strategy here, but the major issue I have with this is that marketing and business should not affect the reality of a universe. They want to isolate the idea of variants to the Daryl show to bring viewers to the Daryl show, but that's just hurting the realism of this story. If someone did plant variants in the US, there is absolutely no reason they couldn't have made it to Georgia or New York. And if you want to be even more technical here, it could have been someone very specific who planted just a couple hundred near the Commonwealth, and then that person will be the main villain of Daryl Dixon. But do you really think AMC is that creative minded to do that? But yeah, guys, that's pretty much my entire rant. Let me know what you guys think about this down below. Is AMC just ruining the reality of this universe, and any cool idea becomes a really cheap gimmick? Or do you think it's better that they're separating these ideas into separate shows? And before this video ends, I just want to give a quick shout out to all my patrons. If you guys want to join the Patreon, it's patreon.com/clashpr. You guys will get early access to long forms and uncensored. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching and peace out.